record button. Yeah, hi, thank you for joining me today. And today I'm going to share with you three very interesting news. The first one is on TheVerge.com, and the title is Nike is testing NFT trademark law by suing a sneaker reseller. So this news is by ADR. So yeah, so let's take a look of this interesting. I think it's probably the first one that I saw that someone is suing over somebody took their image, put on NFT, and yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, I think for me, I heard that somebody kind of screenshot other people's Twitter feed and sell on NFT platform, and it seems like this place is an outlaw place because nobody can do anything about it because it's NFT, right? So Nike is like file the first bullet, like just like set the first trying to see whether Nike can get back its own property, like ownership of over the shoe, right? So pretty much Nike is suing an online marketplace for launching NFT based on Nike shoe, testing on the limits of crypto trademark law and what NFT actually is. So yeah, I think this is pretty meaningful, and I really want to see what's the result of it. Oh, Emily's joining it. Hello, Emily. Hello, Emily. I was waiting for you. Hey, Emily, I was waiting for you.
I couldn't find the link. It kept giving me all the details, but I couldn't find the Zoom link till just a couple seconds ago. So.
Oh, really? Oh, I see. Yeah, it's just because of previous troll, right? I just trying to make it a little hard, but I know it's just so annoying. Yeah.
And I've actually been putting your stuff on LinkedIn, so you don't know who you're going to get. And,
cool. Yeah. I mean,
I'm trying to get the voice people to sign up for your classes and just know enough. They don't want to be gamers. They want to understand the model so that they can take their software. And these are like professional voice actors who want to become characters in games. So you and I have to talk. I want you to present to them sometime.
Yeah, that would be great. Love to, help out with the community and, boosting the entire
right. And just like you're mentoring me, you can be mentoring them. And some of these people are pretty sharp, and they have their own businesses. They just want to do more than just Google and Alexa,
Yeah,
done that.
Definitely. Yeah. So I would say today's news is very, very interesting. The first one is on The Verge. The title is Nike is testing NFT trademark law by suing a sneaker reseller. Yeah, it's on The Verge and by ADR. So in short, pretty much somebody, a reseller kind of screenshot Nike's shoes and put it on NFT. So whoever buys this NFT can redeem or, equivalent, like the store StockX will give the person who owns the, the NFT, one shoe. So this is a very interesting concept. Just treat this a voucher, right? So you buy something on NFT, and I think you don't have to pay tax, right?
Not yet. It's like the internet tax, that big debate on the internet tax,
Yeah, I think this is so smart because if the transaction is on the NFT platform and selling actual goods, I think this is a very, very smart way to avoid the tax.
The IRS, they haven't caught on yet, but when they do, watch out.
Yeah. So I personally think that, for StockX, they just want to, try this out and, kind of like using this as a voucher on NFT. Right. But Nike take it very seriously and start suing the, StockX company. And I find out it's very interesting because on Nike's point of view, these are my shoes and I have trademark on it, right? And then so Nike's point of view is that it's basically my product, my trademark. Everything is mine. And how can you, without my permission, you can post and resell my product online? And as for StockX, it's like, oh, it's just a voucher. It's just a redeem, right? And it's on NFT, right? and I didn't really, do anything in this physical world to against it, but I put on NFT. It's kind of like a sneaky point, which, like what's the trademark?
If I were Nike, I would go back to like the old movies, when Disney created the movies in the 50s and 60s, the Disney movies, they did not pay the musicians and the artists when things came out on CD-ROM or streaming. And so those unions and those laws said, no, 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 Disney, just because that technology didn't exist, you do own the end product, but you have to pay back those people that created that product. So the laws, the courts will go back to what happened in the past and what is the precedent. That's the word I'm looking for, the precedent. But it's interesting because I believe in NFTs. I believe that your characters, your games should have NFTs, but that doesn't mean that just because Emily is going to do it, let's say I create a virtual game platform in an airplane or in SpaceX community lounge, we're going to have vacation in space. Just because I put it out there, I steal your product and I'm marking it out there. So you can't touch me. This is a new universe. It's a metaverse. No, no, no. You'll come back and say, no, this is my stuff. I own it. So it's very interesting. I just love this stuff. And I wish I was 20 years younger so that I could venture out into all of this technology and make it happen.
It doesn't, like everything that you're describing right now sounds like a very old problem that's existed across industries, which has to do with 3D modeling and unions.
Right.
And that the gamers have always had problems with 3D modeling and unions, and even Hollywood does, because even lighting designers have to hire somebody to do their 3D models for them. That is not always a union position.
Right.
And that is a problem that I have personal feelings about. So the idea of NFT is really, if I saw it in the way that you're describing it, if somebody makes a cup and they put a cup into the game and then the game is using the cup and moving it from place to place, then the person who created the cup, meaning the 3D modeler who created it, would be having his product tracked through this universe because he created it. But there are quite a number of people like myself who 3D modeled the Oscars. Now, I don't certainly think that I personally own the Oscars because I 3D modeled it, and I certainly did it on behalf of somebody else.
Right.
So,
but do you give them permission to take your creativity and then they own it? You've basically given them the ownership.
Well, yes, of course, because somebody is hiring you for a purpose to create something and to deliver a product. This goes to the heart of the entire gig economy, which is we have a problem. Here's a number, solve it for me. It's now solved, and now we close the books and we do something new.
Right. But in this case, this company didn't do any of that. They just said, hey, I know Nikes are hot. I know that.
Because they can link to anywhere and point to anything and just say, oh, no, I'm buying you a flag that looks over there.
Right. And I believe Nike has enough lawyers and loyalty customer base that this company will lose in court, and cease and desist will go out immediately.
Well, it's interesting because at the same time that if you were selling an NFT and you were the artist and you were pointing to your own web server.
Yeah, but that's different.
And then tomorrow you bring out season 2 of your idea. Then the link is a link and it's an appropriate link. But if it's a link to something just because you could change what it links to and it's now to Nike shoes. Right.
And the other thing that Nike has a whole slug of lawyers is the counterfeit Nikes. If you've ever been to a swap meet and you see, oh, here's Nikes for $20 and you look at them and they're cheap vinyl, or you can see where they just slap the brand over some other shoe.
I think maybe at the end, the result might be, if you are an artist, whatever you create, you have to put on NFT, or there's another NFT laws to protect your work. So for example, if I create a cup,
I can't imagine an art direction house doing that with all of its art directors. Like, let's say that you were working on Boba Fett and I was creating a rock. Now, do you think that every single rock has been attributed to the single person that goes into the television show, and then the television show profits are being distributed accurately across the people who created the rocks?
I think if I were queen of the universe, what I would say is we're making a Boba Fett movie. If this movie profits, all of you have a share. I don't care if you're a rock builder or the producer behind the camera.
Well, this sounds very ancient against Hollywood, that they'll probably fight back tooth and nail, I would imagine.
But the new
I mean,
movie
it sounds
houses are
lovely, but
the new movie houses are being created by millennials who are doing just that. You know, they're
Yeah.
hiring their brothers and sisters, their friend down the block, and they're doing just that. And they're creating NFT and blockchain to do that. You know, it's just
Well-
like when I went to work on the internet, when I was trying to make business out of it, I went to the online casinos. I went to the porn sites. You know, Visa would not give me an account to do transactions on
but
the
I can
internet. I had to go
speak
to
as-
other DigiCash and other models to do
Yeah.
it.
I'm thinking in terms of production designers. I'm thinking of terms of people who are trying to deliver a large scale product to somebody else, and they were in a position of art direction, and now they're in a position of attributing, you know, assets to people who've created, who've labeled it, and have now assembled all of these things underneath them, and they're now
Right.
passing that on to somebody above. That sounds very idealistic. I don't think Hollywood has worked that way at all, and I don't think they're
But you
going
don't
to.
need Hollywood. That's what the kids are telling us. You know, we're making sci-fi movies in Bangladesh, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Well,
think this
it-
topic is very interesting just because, you know, metaverse is another world. And if it is, you know, like the role is more like NFT role, you got the ownership, right? When you create it, then yeah, it's very interesting. Like how can physical world control the NFT world, right? Like what's the law? Because there are two different regulation or player roles, right? So yeah, how can we define those? Yeah, go ahead.
I worked for Polygram Records in, I think it was North Hollywood for a short time. I didn't like living in Burbank. Okay, I just couldn't stand it. But I worked with them. I gave them web servers, a lot of that, because they were competing with Napster, you know. So here's this big record, gigantic force. And
Right. So,
you
and
know,
how did
Napster
they
came out, there was Napsters all over the world.
Napster though?
Well, they had
outlawed it and then stood away from it, created a different product that didn't use it, and then just stood it
Right.
off for two
So
decades.
it's like a deja vu thing. You have to look back and see, you know, where the regulatory bodies and how it was handled and what works, what doesn't work. But I sincerely believe that, you know, out of the 6 billion gamers, that's the number that was quoted to me by some game guru. 6 billion people, young and old, all different ages all over the world, they're doing their own thing on new gaming platforms without the big companies. Okay.
Hmm.
And so there's definitely a shift, and the laws have always been far way behind the technology.
Yeah.
Let's go on. What else you got?
Okay. Yeah,
We go
another
on
one
this
is
forever.
so fun. This one is
And
called.
Dan, I'm going to
yeah.
send you guidelines as I'm writing stuff, you know, for
Oh.
regs, because I
Oh.
need his devil advocate
Oh,
approach
okay,
here.
sure. Yeah, another news is the title is called From VR to the ER. Yeah, virtual reality players' insurance claims surged by 30% as they smash into TV sets, coffee tables, and a lot of furnitures while wearing VR headsets. So this news is on Daily Mail UK and written by CHAY QUINN for MailOnline. So when I see this, it's like a post on the subreddit. Like there's like the VR ER subreddit forum was more than 80K members that share their photos experience when they are have so immersive experience while smashing their lamp by like beat their kid or smash into the television or jump into the all the different interesting, funny moment. So yeah, so I would say that I had the similar experience while I was playing, 11, like the ping pong or like boxing. I accidentally trapped my, even though I have a small, I can see the blue line, like when every time when I cross the boundary, and there's always a hint, but it's just too immersive and I forget. I was in the virtual world, so I always cross the line, and every time when I cross the line, I see the real world, and then it's so dizzy, right? And I get back when I trying to get back, and it goes back, and then a lot of bug happens or something, and I just feel like, I don't know, if we can have a treadmill for us to, no matter how hard we run, we are not running out of that area. That would be great, because it's so impossible for, if you are so immersive into fit, like some fitness, or something that require a lot of body movement. It's really hard not to get out of the boundary. Yeah, so any thoughts? Really love
I
this
think
title.
I can envision, if they were to hire me, these insurance companies or these product companies, is basically put a warning label, using VR can be hazardous to your health. Remove, obstacles, your kids, your dogs. Peloton, didn't they get sued because little kids were getting stuck in the treads and stuff? You couldn't figure out how to turn it off quick enough and things like that. So there's always, danger. I worked with a earbud company. We had to write specifications on how to remove an earbud when a kid or a dog swallows it. So you never know what's going to go on. Are there magnets? Are there things inside that affect, the removing of the earbud? So it's really interesting that there's always the other side of danger. Yeah, I can see where he punched his kid. My granddaughter, as soon as I turn on the TV and I like to dance to the commercials, with her. But if I would have put VR glasses and do that, I could see where I'd just stomp all over her,
Yeah.
So it's a human process. But I did send you a thing on Disney where they're going to take the VR glasses off and have, this 3D thing with a metaverse type or Disneyverse, whatever they're going to call it, without wearing glasses. Because I could see that just like they have to protect people on rides, they would have to protect people in a VR environment, in their theme parks.
Yeah, so VR to ER is like something that we don't want to see, but I feel like if later on multiplayer with your family, right?
Or they would tell you, I would say recommended you sit in a chair and just move your arms and your eyes.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? And not be moving 20 feet this way. And let's say you're out on an outdoor patio and you fall off the edge. Where there's no rail,
Yeah, for Oculus Quest, it's not recommended using outside. So
yeah,
it's only
but that doesn't mean people won't do it. The mom says, get out of my living room. I don't want you crashing my lovely china. So the kid goes out on the patio and goes, off the side of the cliff.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Especially in LA, they build the houses on stilts.
Yeah, I would say this is a very interesting thing, and you see like the insurance claim, it's like a racing surging.
Yeah, well, they push back, say we're denying it. What are you going to do? Or raise your rates.
Yeah, I think raise the rates. If you have VR headset, it's like raise your rates. Yeah, cool. So yeah, so this is a interesting news. Another one is portalcode.com. And the title is called "The Virtual Real Estate Boom is Turning the Metaverse into the Wild West." And it has the true believers on edge. Okay, so this news was written by Nick Statt. So basically, the interesting thing about this article is it mentioned the new big four in Metaverse. Let me see. The new big four is Sandbox, Decentraland, and this one is Solnian, and the last one will be crypto voxels. Yeah,
voxels.
voxels, crypto voxels. So you see like those three, right? And this one is called Omian, right? Yeah, it's also Somian. So those four will be the new big four in metaverse. It's very interesting that, yeah, like the new big four, like I heard the first two, like Decentraland and the Sandbox and Sonian, and yeah, that one I couldn't remember, like Vol something. Yeah, so those four are pretty big right now for metaverse places, and now they're kind of selling the real estate in, in metaverse. And the interesting thing is that when the writer, the journalist, having an interview with the CEO with Somian, and he mentioned that the real estate needs to provide a value for the owner, right? Without providing an actual value, because a lot of people ask him like, hey, when I buy this land, I couldn't do anything, right? I couldn't take this to anywhere. And, so he thinks that as for Somian, they want to create a lot of tools to help this piece of land, digital land, to have a value, right? For example, driving more players, users, customers to the land more than physical store, right? I think that's meaningful because think about that. Owning a piece of land, right, in real world, it's like, a few very expensive, right? Like millions or something. But if you buy a land, it's probably like 10K, 20K, right? And you can own a place where, this entire platform will drive you customers and you can sell more things than than in the physical world. I think, yeah. And the CEO of Sony, and he wants to focus on creating tools, creating better usage in metaverse, creating better avatar experience in metaverse versus trying to sell lens. Because a lot of people, they just want to,
Yeah,
selling.
I right now at my age, and I just retired. I sold my house and I'm in a senior community by the beach here in Santa Cruz. I'm very leery. And also I remember many times I'd be riding my ATV out, as a kid, 20, 30-year-old in the Arizona desert, and somebody drives up in their car and says, get off my land. It's desert. It's nothing, no water, no power. They were from Michigan and they bought this land sight unseen in Arizona. And it's like, well, welcome to Scorpionville, want to ride my ATV,
Oh.
So they were taken. They spent big money thinking it was a senior retirement community, and it was nothing, it was a fake deal. So I'm very skeptical.
I am incredibly skeptical.
Right. But again, the millennials, they're living off their mom and dad in basements. They don't have to spend for a roof over their house, so they might buy this stuff.
Well, the thing is, I see all this as very wishful thinking, but all of these cloud buildings and decentralized land kind of structures and things, these are all of the fall off of architectural products, meaning that every building that's ever been built has a model that is like this. And there are far more professional systems that actually display actual towns where you would put your building in with the other buildings so you could render it into the background. This is me speaking from an architectural design firm, speak. But between buildings that can be downloaded intact and you just open the file and actually just copy and paste into something, I mean, all of that is basically SketchUp. So to think that SketchUp had some sort of land like Google Earth and now they're selling plots within it, okay, or maybe like Sims, 20 years ago, you're now selling off quadrants of Sims so that you could build your community into this wider game community. But to me, it looks very strange. Like, okay, well, we've just created Facebook and you can buy a web page in our Facebook site for a very large amount of money and put your virtual blob on my virtual flat, surface.
And And to me, if I want to move, let's say I want to move from, island 1 to island 2, can I take my assets with me? And they're
Yeah.
saying,
See,
no, 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 you're stuck here for life. You cannot move. If you go, you lose all your assets. And I don't like that,
yeah.
so
So, and I would be the person who would build my asset and import it to them. And then my asset would be ready to go there and the other place and the other place. And the other place.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
that's how that I would see that a lot of people would want you to wish to think this way. But it is very much like Google Earth really wanting people to build their 3D buildings and upload it to their world, right? To
Yeah.
plug in the holes.
Yeah, so they are trying to create a big platform and for people to build stuff on top of their platform.
And they just want to
yeah,
make money. What
Yeah.
is the
yeah,
value? I think you and I could build our own metaverse in a game without having to buy real estate,
Well, and I think that the private land aspect of all of this reminds me of the open internet in the 90s and people who like quadrant themselves off into America Online, right? I was
Right.
very happy that they got the hell out of my face and stayed in those little quadrant like
Mhm.
walled gardens. That made me quite pleased. Go stay
Right.
over there. Facebook, please stay there.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm interested in what used to be very interesting in that we built our own places and everybody visited that, and then we had links that took sent people out to other specialized places that we thought were cool. That
Right.
was the initial, when we made our own HTML sites. Fun thing was that you stumbled into this person's world and then it had 4 or 5 doors that took you 4 or 5 other places, and you just went
Right.
on this adventure going through people's web pages. And that was such a cool way to not know where you're going and having Google just say, well, these are the top
Yeah.
possibilities of what you're looking for. We used
Back.
to take these little adventures and get down to the end of the web page and it said links. We
Yeah.
would say, okay, oh well, now that we've read that page, now we've got 5 or 6 other directions. It was all choose your own adventure kind of stuff.
Yeah. AOL used to be my customer back in the 90s. We provided bandwidth for them. They were notorious for putting too many users on one line, so when T3s
But they
came
also
out.
walled them off so that like they got
No,
quiet to the rest of the internet too. It was like,
well, but they were forced to. Here in California, they were forced to, because when I was hired on to work with them, every site, every account had to have so many hits. Their mantra was shop till you drop. Just bombard. Remember how many CDs you used to get in the mail, and but every time you logged in, you could not get to your account unless you saw 3 ads, minimum 3 ads, and clicked on one of them. Okay. Otherwise, you went down to the bottom of the use straw in terms of performance. If you were shopping, you were on the top of the heap. So I just sold the hardware and the bandwidth, but the state of California was coming after me saying you're doing illegal activities, and I had to point them back to AOL. I go, no, it's not me. This is a community. And then I showed them that we had just creative formats for conversation. These smart people in Marin, and there was even like a church group and women's, what later become Women's Wire or Wired magazine, where they had just conversations and content articles. There was no selling. In fact, they said you are forbidden to self-promote and sell. This is just for conversation. So that's what kind of saved their ass and said, oh yeah, we're going to do that. But if you created a bicycle club, they would bombard you with bicycle ads. And I had to force that on the poor customers. So until the commerce laws in California said you can't do that, then things changed.
Yeah, I personally think this idea is very interesting. It's just like, think about different platform. It's just a platform, right? For example, I write a blog. I post on this platform, and maybe I can, I don't know, I build something in this platform and I build another stuff in that platform. And maybe in the future, there's a deep link for me to go here to there. And for me
about
to
a town square where people take turns talking. Today we're going to talk about health. Tomorrow we're going to talk about pets. Tomorrow, just an open forum where people can go talk and go there for free. But
Mhm.
these guys are saying, no, you can't go to
Oh,
my town square unless you own it, unless you pay to play, which to me is
yeah,
crazy. And I believe they're self-promoting. They're trying to create a lot
yeah,
of hype. Just like remember when the internet came out, you had to like buy all these domain names and then sell
yeah,
them to the people that wanted them. You know,
yeah,
they're just scams, I believe. I'm very
yeah.
skeptical on this. And I don't care how big they think they are. To me, they're not getting my money. Not right now.
Yeah, I
I
think
will buy
right
in.
now all the
I will
fees
buy
are crazy.
NFTs from creative contents like you, Dominic, but I'm not going to give my money to them.
It's very interesting that right now, like for example, if you want to own a land or visit a place or something, you need to at least buy a ticket or something because they are earning your transaction fee, right? Because they are a
Right.
platform.
Mhm.
So it's very weird right now that every little tiny action, or if you want to do anything, it probably takes a lot of, I would say, um, efforts, transactions to just to enjoy the life there. So I would say very kind of, it seems like a free place, but just because of all the platforms, either you
There's
get
no free
free.
lunch. Somebody's got to pay for it. There's no free lunch.
Yeah, yeah. You
And
either
these
get a lot of
and if
ads,
you look at the
right?
lifestyle of these people you're looking at, they don't live in dorm rooms. They're living the life, and they want to just find another way to keep living that life. Join their country clubs in a real world. Or in their house in Maui. I don't feel sorry for these guys.
Yeah, I mean, either you get everything free, but you will see a lot of ads, right? Or you need to purchase a lot of tickets, purchase a lot of stuff, then
Well,
you can be free.
I've got another third way, which is that no, you can actually just buy the software that creates these worlds that have these cloud sharing links ready to share. So
Right.
like
Mm.
I've got, AutoCAD and Revit and all of these
Right.
different architectural programs, they all have cloud sharing
Yeah.
like abilities, and they all have links that you can start to go and start going through. Now, whether they actually start having some of the gaming aspects of it, now that I'm starting to export like Twinmotion to Unreal, it's quite nutty on how much of the Unreal will be incorporated into these cloud linked,
Right. Yeah. We can make
individually created spaces.
But those
That
creative spaces, they are not like, for example, if someone want to monetize it, right? Or they don't have a transaction
no, but
on the
but
back.
look at what he's saying.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to their island. Between the three of us, between his agricultural,
Mm.
your human interface, all the content and the design that you do, and me and Sapien adding voice, we could have our own metaverse. Okay, we
Mm.
as three, and then invite people to come and do their business or do their creative poetry readings or how to raise your kid or pet in our virtual world without having to pay for a deed for somebody else's shopping mall or city. Okay, the three of us have the power, and we could pull our creative juices and the tools to create what these guys are trying to sell
Yeah.
without having the high overhead and price. Okay.
Yeah, this is very expensive. It's like I went to the website and see like the price of a piece of, like a box. You see how much is that? 3.6. It's
Yeah.
like
Well,
a 6,000,
picture this
7,000.
in the desert in Arizona, and I'm selling it in Florida and Michigan and Wyoming and saying, hey, come buy your real estate. This is in the 60s. Come buy your plot in Arizona. And they say, you're going to have fishing and golf and free food in your clubhouse and all of this. And then when people get there, it's a desert, So it's
Yeah.
like, be wary,
Yeah.
Don't be the first one. Let people build it, bring in so you can flush a toilet, and then I'll move in,
Yeah, you see how much is that? You see
unless
like
someone's stuffing
8,000.
something down that toilet.
Right. Well, you gotta have
Yeah.
plumbers. Then you have plumbers. That's like in the
Then you have
metaverse. Who's
plumbers.
gonna unstop the bandwidth problems? You gotta have plumbers.
Yeah, so to be honest with you, I feel like this is online multiplayer game, but it's self-build, and you can
Yeah.
probably cross different places, and I don't know, it's just something is interesting, something really similar to online multiplayer game, but online multiplayer game, you follow a certain story, right? And you become a certain person. But here, the kind of like you release a lot of stuff, like even narration or something. It's like you build your own story, and it's an online multiplayer game, something like that.
Yeah, well, but would you buy it? Seriously, tell me. If you won the lottery tomorrow, would you go spend it on this, or would you spend it on something else?
If I can, if I got 1 million, I probably will prefer buying real estate in real life. Yeah, because I mean, I can tell you sometimes when I get into those places, I feel like still, even though the thing is beautiful, but inside your heart, it's fake, right? Even though I
Right.
play games, like when
Yeah.
I in
Yeah, that's
games,
what I
I'm
said.
the hero, but it's
If you bought $1 million house, you could, or then you could afford to bring your mother over from Taiwan, and
Mm.
she could retire comfortably, and you could, live happy working out of your home.
Mm.
If you moved and bought this plot, your mother couldn't live there,
no.
when you had to take care of her,
Yeah.
and your relatives couldn't come and visit,
Mhm.
so there's a different reality check with this stuff. But again,
Yeah.
I feel that young people who are affluent, or older people who have money to burn, they're going to fall for this. If
You think so? I mean,
they're doing it. I mean, it's like, but they don't know any better, or they don't, they're just experimenting. But
well,
I know kids that live right here in Woodside, California, in their mega mansions that their parents own. They drive their mother's Tesla. They've got their own credit cards. They're buying this stuff, but it's dad's money, it's mom's money, it's not their money. They're still going to Stanford trying to get a degree, but
yeah.
they're buying this stuff.
It seems like Dubai tried to do this in real life off their coast, and it didn't work there either in real life.
Right. Right.
You pour sand and say this is virtual Ireland, but no one's really going to buy it except for
Yeah,
one guy, and he regrets it.
right, you go snow skiing in Saudi Arabia, but why?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
that's in
totally.
Dubai as well, and actually it looked pretty attractive, to be honest with you.
Well,
Yeah.
I like California snow.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
I love
Austrians
California.
wouldn't ski on it. No, the actual Europeans, they turned their nose up at it. No, they
Yeah,
absolutely.
right.
Yeah.
Squaw Valley anytime.
Yeah, I think this is kind of an interesting idea, but when I visit like a virtual place, for example, like meeting room, or like all space, even though like the bar is interesting, I want to eat something, but it's it's not fulfilling, right? I order a coffee, but I couldn't really drink, and my physical body I need to maintain, or my physical body, if my physical body die, right? And
Right.
I indulge myself in that virtual place, and it feels like disconnected. This place is just for your imaginary, right?
Right.
But
Right. But
physical body
But if
needs
you
to
want
take
a
care.
fun place to play, my answer to everybody is, hey, build your own. You don't have to go there to do that.
Maybe have a service and build your own and give away the
Right.
deep
Take your
link, right?
$20,000, take some classes, come
Yeah.
to our sessions, and hook up with the
Yeah.
architecture guru, the voice guru, and Dominic to
Yeah.
promote you, and you got a deal. Maybe we should
Yeah.
start
Maybe,
a
maybe I
side
can
hustle here.
create my little land somewhere, right? And kind of
Right.
like trying to, send out some link. And at least I think this the deal for this is that you create a digital platform, something similar. You create a website, but it's a
Right.
3D,
And,
but
and
it's
the
a fun.
beauty of that is that the gaming companies will give you grants and free software to do that. For Twin Motion, I'm taking classes. I signed up for them. They're way over my head, but I go through the tutorials because I'm
So
trying to figure out how it plays and where I can put voice into these silent movies that you create with Twin Motion.
and from my perspective, I was working with Vectorworks and was a professor at Cal Poly Pomona for every other quarter for 3 or 4 sessions or something, for teaching 3D modeling for entry level. For these guys, it was theater majors, but it was for them to put down their pencils and to pick up a computer and to use either SketchUp or Vectorworks because it was the most accessible for them.
Right.
and how to create your 3D model of what you wanted to put somewhere. But from that point, it's FBX. So I mean, you're ready to go and put that thing almost anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the most exciting part of any of this multiverse stuff. And this comes from the theater major Hollywood side, which is that every art director and kid going to theater classes who get shunned because they chose to become a theater major are in fact the 3D asset creators of metaverse. They're perfect for it. That's what they do. So I think also all the architectural worlds, how much capacity do we have in architectural companies, but they're not allowed to build their buildings? If they actually could just build their 3D models, because they're completely set for it and ready to go and place it. All of us are, any of us who have AutoCAD, Revit, Vectorworks, we're hampered by having the project actually happen. But if we were able to just create, because there was just a demand for 3D buildings, all of us are sitting on that software right now. So
I had a dream about building a virtual hospital. You can't do anything without permits to build a hospital. Salinas.
But think about how many
for 25 years has been trying to build a new hospital in Salinas Valley, and the costs are too much. The properties has gone up.
But those ground plans exist.
But in a virtual community, to take care of all of the ag workers, we could do telehealth, we could do remote patient monitoring and build a virtual hospital. So, I'd love to build something like that in a metaverse,
To me, that exists. It's actually the wireframe model of that hospital. It's already been done. It's been built. They need to fork it and actually just reuse it and put people down virtual hallways versus the real hallways, because they already did that work. They don't need to rethink it.
Right. Well, Dan, maybe you and I should hook up. We'll write a strategy. What I've done a lot in my days is just write business plans and then sell them to other people to implement.
I got nothing but ideas.
And as for virtual hospital, is that inside metaverse, like for injured avatar or injured real human?
Or someone who tripped over their coffee table in VR.
Okay.
Well,
Now they need a telehealth appointment.
Well, behind this is a technology called BIM, Building Information Modeling, which has to do with like the diameter of your air conditioning duct has this capacity of passing this much air through this much diameter. And when you place a 3D object in there, it starts to understand it could pass this much air through it because it's this long, it's this wide. The resistance of taking a 90-degree turn is actually measured.
Right.
The weight of it on the building is being measured. When we place all these 3D objects into these buildings, all of this real data starts to come out. And that's what all the architects have been focused on for decades now. But I mean, if it all gets forked off and used beyond just the planning stage, that's the key. And I'm sure all of them are thinking along these lines, because we've done the work and now we need to put an engine on it and make it function for people.
Right. Dominic, we need to get ready for the other meeting. Do you have another article, or can we?
I think this is it.
That one, because I've got to make sure David's on time and you get your people signed in. And I did announce it, but people saying this is Saturday, I got to do my kids practice, or I promised my wife, since I work so long, that I won't, I'll clean house on the weekends. So I asked if people could get a recording of your stuff.
Yes. It will be on the YouTube, and I will send.
And I interact with people in Europe too, so I'm trying to get them to work and understand what we're talking about here.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely. So I think that's for today. And thank you for joining me, and hopefully see you next Saturday morning.
All right. Thank you. And
Bye-bye.
Dan, I'll ping you on LinkedIn. I'm serious about creating these strategies. Okay, now's the time. We got nothing to do, right? Make it happen.
You stopped the recording now?
Hold on a sec. Probably I need to do. Hold on a sec.
Yeah, we'll work offline.
Yeah. Okay.
offline,
Yeah.
because I have a couple of things that I've worked on that if you guys are interested in some of the